Okay, we're going to call the meeting of the July 24th, 2023 City Council meeting to order. First order on the agenda is to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And this evening, we're going to have, Rob Griebentrog from our on-site International Prayer Church will be giving the prayer. Thank you.
Let's pray. Father, as we gather tonight to meet in this place and discuss and learn different things, before we begin, we acknowledge that apart from you, we have no good thing. Apart from you, we have no love. Apart from you, we have no light. Apart from you, we have no life. Not life here in this world, and certainly no hope of life to come in heaven. But you provided that way through Jesus, your Son, through his death and his resurrection. Father, we thank you for the gift of life, and we thank you for how your hand has continued to write the story of Westfield, Indiana, its residents, its leaders, and more. Father, as we gather tonight, pray, Lord, that you would put a guard over our mouths, that what we say would be pleasing to you, but put that guard over our mouths that we would not sin against you or sin against one another. And God, as well, I pray for this city, you continue to be a wall of fire around us. But most importantly, absolutely most importantly, you will continue to be the glory in our midst. You are awesome in this place, not because of who we are, but who you are making us to be more and more. We bless you and worship you tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Griebentrog. Marla Ayler, would you please note the presence of a quorum?
Scott Willis.
Here.
Cindy Spoljaric. Here. Jake Gilbert.
Here.
Mike Johns.
Here.
Scott Fry.
Here.
Troy Patton. Joe Edwards. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay. There are no changes to this evening's agenda. However, I've just noted that on the agenda that's printed here, under miscellaneous business, we have an update on the YMCA from Shannon Russell. Online, we actually have that document, which is the YMCA Development Agreement. So I'm not sure why it doesn't appear on this agenda that you have in your hand, but it does in fact appear online. It's out there for everybody to see. So that being the case, there are no changes to the agenda. The first item on tonight's agenda then would be the approval of the meeting minutes from July 10th, 2023. Councilors, do you have any questions regarding those minutes? If not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Councilor Spoljaric, seconded by Councilor Willis. Marla, would you call the roll, please?
Cindy Spoljaric.
Yes.
Jake Gilbert.
Yes.
Mike Johns.
Yes.
Scott Fry.
Yes.
I feel like I should ask for Troy, but I have counted him absent at the moment, so I'm going to skip him. And Scott Willis.
Yes.
All right. Okay, very good. Thank you for the clarification. Motion for the minutes carries 5-0.
Our next item is the approval of the claims docket for July 24th, 2023. Does anyone have any questions regarding the claims docket? If not, can I have a motion to approve the docket for July 24th, 2023?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Willis, seconded by Councilor Spoljaric. Marla, would you call the roll, please?
Jake Gilbert.
Yes.
Mike Johns.
Yes.
Scott Fry.
Yes.
Scott Willis.
Yes.
Cindy Spoljaric.
Yes.
Claims motion passes 5-0.
Okay. This evening, we do have a presentation. Shannon Russell of the YMCA is going to give us an update on the status of the YMCA and the new project development agreement. Shannon's not? All right. I'm sorry.
Council, Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to give you a quick update. I'm not Shannon Russell. My name is Greg Highland. I'm the president and CEO for the Y of Greater Indianapolis.
Thanks, Greg. You look different than Shannon.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think it's, I don't know.
Great.
Well, hey, just a real quick update. The project development agreement that we talked about, it's been a little over a year ago, has been submitted. It's gone back and forth most recently for the past month and a half between our development attorney and Ann. And I think it's in the final form. I think that might be what is linked in the minutes or the agenda for this evening. Really pleased to say that I think she's worked with you all to get comments on that, and everything seems to be in order. Would be ready to sign that project agreement. If everything meets your approval, we're ready to move forward with that as soon as possible. Just a real quick update on the Y. As you know, we've been working with the local architect team of CSO Architects. They've been busy working on the final design. We've completed 100% of the design documents, and we've moved into the construction drawings. We're about 50% of the way done with construction drawings. As you may remember, we did put this, we had begun work with a construction management team, had gotten an estimate from them, and construction costs had skyrocketed. And we didn't feel comfortable moving forward with their estimate without validating their numbers. And the only way we could do that was to invite other construction managers to give an estimate based on the same set of drawings, which was 100% of the DD drawings. And our volunteers met with both firms, and we've selected AECom Hunt to be our construction manager on this project. So they've jumped in with CSO. We've already had our coordination meeting to get them up to speed. This is a little bit later in the game than we would have anticipated to have a CM on the project, but based on giving them both firms time to re-estimate the project, we felt like it was the right thing to do. The estimate all-in cost on this project as it stands, and again, we won't know until bid day when we receive the bids, but we believe based on everything we've done to validate the numbers, the all-in cost is plus or minus $25 million, which is significantly higher than the original project cost, but a number that we've come to understand that's what it's going to take to get this project done. It's about a 54,500 square foot facility attached to a 30,000 square foot natatorium that you know is already in place. So, total, the project will be about an 85,000 square foot footprint on that corner lot of the Wheeler development. Our partnership with Westfield Washington Schools is going exceedingly well. We still manage the natatorium for them. Dr. Kaiser and his team have been remarkable to work with, and the unique thing that we've shared with you previously that is now coming to fruition more quickly is our higher education component of this. So of the 54,000, roughly 500 square feet, 10,000 square feet of that will be dedicated to higher education. We'll have 3 or 4 classrooms on the first floor, and 4 classrooms on the second floor. And we're saying 3 or 4 on the first. They think they need some space and would desire some space for offices for our higher ed partners. And we have a number of higher education partners, universities across the state of Indiana that have expressed interest. We've met with several and had a meeting this morning with another one. And we believe we'll be able to deliver to Westfield a really unique higher education opportunity for residents and students in Hamilton County that want to pursue higher education. We worked with the economic development folks, and Mike shared with us statistics. Now, these are a little bit dated, but about 30,000 residents in Hamilton County have started their college degree but never finished it. We also know that there were about 17,000 job openings when that report was run, 14,000 of which required a college degree. So we feel like we can be part of the solution to help close that gap on some of the workforce needs and provide an opportunity for students and adult learners to stay right here in Hamilton County and earn their higher education, a certificate or diploma. Our goal is to break ground by the end of this year. That's written in the project development agreement, that it would be a fourth quarter groundbreaking. The caveat to that is we do still have a small funding gap that we're working diligently to close. We have several asks out to folks and others who can make a difference and help us close that gap. It's about a $3.5 million gap as of today. We're confident we're going to close that. We're committed to breaking ground. And from the WISE perspective, it only makes sense to break ground this fall. Just as you time things out, it would let us open that facility in January of 2025. And that would be our goal. There's, in the project development agreement, you'll see that there is some room to slide that date, but no later than May of next year. So that's where the project stands. We're excited and look forward to sharing with you more information in the weeks to come.
Thanks, Greg. Councilors, any questions for Greg? Hearing none, I would just say that I was obviously involved with the project since actually before we took office in 2019. I can remember meeting with you and Shannon,
right,
and talking about it. It's taken some interesting turns. It's different project than it was then.
Right.
It's a lot more money than it was then, but it sounds like a wonderful, wonderful project for Westfield. I would also note, as you mentioned, that the efforts following the downturn in COVID and everything that we had to go through, there were a lot of individuals that put a lot of time into this project. And I'm sorry, I don't know the names of many of them, all right, but I do want to compliment Councilor Spoljarek on her support of the project and her ability a year and a half ago to work with the ARPA funds and get those dedicated toward the project so that we as a city of Westfield were able to dedicate $5 million toward the project.
And yeah, thank you for mentioning that. You know, I certainly would close if there aren't any questions to say how grateful our organization is. When we were talking about this gift a year and a half ago, I think I made the comment then that this was really the pivotal point in the project, and your vote of confidence in us and your financial support investing in this project, in a transformational project that's going to change lives of generations to come, we're beyond grateful, and just want to make sure that you all know how much we appreciate your support, and we're going to deliver.
Well, according to our legal team, the dollars have already been set aside for this project in last March of 2022. So our purpose tonight then, and I'm going to actually ask Councilor Spoljarek, if she will, to make a motion to have the mayor sign the project development agreement for St. Vincent YMCA of Westfield that is on the docket for this evening. Councilor Spoljarek?
Yeah, as I understand it, we do not need to sign this. It would just be the mayor signing that. And so I will move to request that mayor approve the project development agreement for the St. Vincent YMCA of Westfield.
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Sorry, can I back up a step? You have to approve it to authorize the signature first.
Okay,
Okay,
that's what we're doing.
It's
We're approving.
semantics, but
Well, we are, okay, this
you
motion
approving
is
the
to
project
approve.
development agreement?
Yes,
Okay,
right, to authorize the mayor's.
sorry.
So,
Do I need to amend my motion?
Yeah, would you mind? Sorry.
For us to
I was a little
approve it.
slow on the draw. Yeah, for you to approve the project development agreement.
All right, I'll make a motion for council to approve the project development agreement for St. Vincent YMCA of Westfield.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
You could do it all in one motion, Cindy, to approve it and request.
I'll amend it again. I'll make the motion for council to approve the project development agreement for the YMCA and to pass that along to mayor requesting his approval and signature. Thank you.
Second. Marla, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Jake Gilbert,
Yes.
Mike Johns.
Yes.
Scott Fry,
Yes.
Scott Willis,
Yes.
Cindy Spoljarek.
Yes.
Motion for everything you said has carried.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all of your help with this. Thank you.
Glad glad we don't have too much to do tonight. Okay, there is no old business for this evening. We do have one item of new business. It is a right-of-way vacation of East Street. The documents would be for the ordinance 23-14. It's up for council introduction this evening, public hearing on August 14th, and adoption consideration as well on August 14th. And Jeremy, are you or John?
Yeah, John is on vacation today, so I'm going to cover for him. As Mike stated, for introduction is 23-14, ordinance 23-14, which is a conveyance of excess right-of-way. To take you back in time a little bit, back in 2017, when the Bastion building development was beginning, we had received federal funds for the East Street extension from 196 up to 38. During that land acquisition process, well, I guess to back up, the schedule for construction of the building was ahead of the East Street project. So we had to get creative in a way to allow access to this development for construction and occupancy about a year and a half or 2 years ahead of our East Street construction project. So we were doing our land acquisition, what was then Bow Properties, which is now RCS Westfield LLC, owned a piece of land right here, which was their primary entrance into their building, their property. Bastion needed a sanitary sewer easement, which ended up coming across the Bow Properties, and they also needed a water easement. So we entered into a tri-party definitive agreement, development agreement, if you will, between the city of Westfield, North Point Owners LLC, and Bow Properties of Westfield at the time. And essentially, in exchange for the easement, 2 easements, and what was a temporary access easement across the parking lot and all the way up to the cul-de-sac to get back to Bastion, we exchanged 2 pieces of land. One being North Point Owners LLC, which is obligated to transfer ownership of this piece right here. And then we, the city, are requesting to vacate the excess right-of-way that is this triangle right here, also back to RCS Westfield LLC. So now that we are down the road, the project is closed out, we are requesting to vacate that right-of-way in accordance with the development agreement from 2000, I think it was December of 2017. So happy to answer some questions, as I'm sure there will be. And if not, we will have our public hearing on August 14th and your consideration at that time.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I did forget to mention that as a part of that agreement, North Point Owners LLC also vacated the entirety of the right-of-way that they owned for the road project.
Councilors, any questions? Hearing none, then we'll look forward to hearing it back here on the 14th.
Thank you.
Okay. That pretty much concludes our meeting this evening. Are there any guests who would like to address the council this evening? Hearing none, clerk treasurer comments. Marla?
I really don't have anything, but I will say I sent you guys a little email today. While I was in Florida last week, I had the opportunity to, start preparing for becoming the clerk treasurer-elect of the city. So I took a class and passed that class. I am now a certified public funds investment manager. So I'm going to just keep trudging forward and drinking from the fire hose. But I'm very excited and looking forward to developing an investment strategy for the city and working with Jeremy and the department heads to get that done. So And as wonderful as it is to take time off, it's an exciting time to be at work too. So that's all we've got.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great news. City council comments. Cindy, do we have a report from?
There's not much of a report from Plan Commission. We did have our workshop meeting. We only had the Kimballwick Phase 2 and Claiborne Farms PUD that we discussed there, and we're not sure if they're coming back for recommendation or for another workshop. And we will be considering a new person for the Plat Committee. There's going to be Joe Montalon from the schools, I believe, is retiring, so there will be a replacement appointed at the next Planning Commission. That's it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I would just, first of all, appreciate all the patience with my absences. It's just ironic scheduling, I guess. But we were in El Salvador last meeting, and then I dialed in from North Carolina the prior one, so sorry about that. But in regards to Grand Park, I know we've asked and haven't been able to get a lot of detail on the RFP process publicly, and I get all that. But I'm making a suggestion here. Now, I have not talked to Scott about this because I didn't want it to appear as if Scott had put me up to it, so he may be completely against this, which is fine. But I feel like we are so down the road and so much farther along than what we thought it was going to be at this point that it's madness to try to jam something through by the end of the year. So really, why are we paying for any part of the process? So I feel like we should either put Scott on the RFP process so that he has some insight, because he's going to be the guy leading the city, or we should just pause, cease and desist, and restart in January if that's what our new leadership wants. But what we don't want to do is throw good money after bad. So for example, we approved a $20,000 bill for consultants to look at new stadium projects at Grand Park, which I think was a wise use of their money, unless we're going to sell the thing, then that was a complete total waste of taxpayer dollars. But right now, we're really operating just leaderless in this whole situation. A company came and met with me this week who is becoming a national brand, who had wanted to move out to Grand Park. They service 23 of the National Football League teams. It's a big time, it would be a wonderful company to have. However, who would want to set up shop next to Grand Park till you know who's going to own it? So as the RFP project drags on, we're getting to a point where we've missed out on who knows how much investment. We're about to have a turnover in city leadership who really should be the ones who decide this, in my opinion. And we're paying money, and I don't really know. Like, we should get a discount for services that have taken longer than what it was supposed to take, not pay more in success and things like that. And I just really feel like our next mayor and even our council, they're the ones who will be dealing most with the ramifications of this decision. And it's just taking too long at this point. So that's not a kick the can down the road process, because I heavily wanted to be involved in this decision. But my time is up. But I do think that Scott, so again, I have not talked with Mr. Willis. He may think it's a terrible idea. The reason I didn't talk to him is because I didn't want it to seem like he wasn't saying it for himself. So this is just me speaking, but I think there should be some consideration from the RFP committee that we need to go a different route, or pause, or add Scott so that he at least has the information with how we're proceeding. Because in the meantime, we're paying attorneys to potentially sell it, but we're also spending money for consultants to potentially build it as if the city's going to run it. And we probably shouldn't be doing both of those things in unison. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gilbert.
Jake, I would say it sounded an awful lot to me like what I just heard was we should stop wasting money and getting nowhere. And I agree with that 100%.
Scott?
So I'm not bound by an NDA because I haven't been read in. I know nothing more than anybody else at this table does around Graham Park, but here's what I do know from talking with the mayor. He has agreed that any decision made on Graham Park, I would have an equal voice in that. And if Andy and I cannot come to an agreement, that it would kick to the next administration for a decision on. From what I understand, and I've not been told this specifically, and Manny's probably not going to confirm it, but I've been told that the winning bidder, whoever that may be, will have the option to either take that through this council before the end of the year or hold it till the next administration. So I feel comfortable that my administration will have a voice in what's happening with Graham Park. But I don't know what those bids are. And actually, Manny and I talked on the phone today that I would like to be read in sooner rather than later. But sounds like the way the process is going to work, it's not critical at this point, simply because I will ultimately have a voice when that time comes. I have told Andy, and I told Manny today, it is the greatest asset that we have from a physical standpoint in the city. And if it comes to me, I will not make a decision until it's been fully vetted by my administration. So if I don't get read in, I don't get read in, but nothing will happen quickly when I become mayor. So that's all I know at this point. I did talk to William Knox about his contract and in next year's budget, and my ask was, can we do a month-to-month with a 60-day notice from the city to terminate that contract so that we do have flexibility moving forward with any contracts that we sign new in this next budget cycle. That's all I have, gents, and ladies. That's all I have at this point.
For what it's worth, I would just share the frustration of all the council members, what I think is all the council members, with respect to the length of time that it's taken to move forward on this RFP. In my career as a whole, I've been involved with the selling and purchasing of a number of companies, and I have never in my career ever seen something take as long as this has. And I think it's a disappointment, certainly it's to me, to this council, and it should be the citizens of Westfield. So that's all I have to say on that topic.
Yeah, and let me just add, first off, thanks, Jake, for the comments, because you and I haven't talked about it, and I appreciate where your heart's at on that. And I'm concerned as well that I don't have any information at this point, but I do feel like it will play itself out in a way that I'll feel comfortable with that final decision. But I will say it's not up for sale. The park is not going to be sold. There's 3 options. They're all, from what I understand, some kind of a lease or management agreement. And I can tell you, if it doesn't get to me, if it gets to me and there's no decision, we'll evaluate the RFP with the bids as is, or we'll kill the process and be done with it. We're not going to go back down this road again. So I'm not interested in revisiting a sell the park or anything like that. So
I do want to comment quickly. I mean, the process takes as long as it needs to take, because this is an asset that doesn't belong to, a handful of people that are selling a company. It belongs to, the entirety of the city of Westfield. So the process is taken as long as it's taken for a number of reasons. One, it's by design. The statute requires certain steps need to be taken. 2, it's because it's vastly important, and there's been a lot of information exchanged. And you don't know anything about it because that's what's required. You're the decision-making body, or one of them ultimately. So this is, the comments are what they are. I'm not going to respond to them other than to say that it's been a deliberate process, and it's taken as long as it needs to be taken because of how serious it is. And at no point did I or Jeremy or the mayor, who knows very little about it, have said and promised a date certain. And if I have,
We've been told
remind me.
dates, not by you, but we've been told dates.
Well, I've never told a date.
Yeah, I
haven't
just
heard
said not
Jeremy
by
say
you,
a
but
date.
we have been told dates.
Okay, well, I'd be interested to hear more about that, because there's no date certain by which a decision has to be made. And the process has gone along and taken as long as it's taken because there's been several steps that need to be taken. A lot of information exchanged, it's very complex. And to give a date certain by which a decision has to be made for something of this magnitude would have been silly.
Yeah, I don't know why the mayor told us those dates then, but what else is serious is, like I said, we're about to approve a budget. Now, clearly from those comments, Scott knows more about it than what we do, which is good. I think that's a good, I'm glad you do. But it's not just about like, we want to know. You know, we've been blasted up here for all the economic development that didn't come because of our behaviors and this and that. Well, the most important piece that draws in economic development around here has always been Grand Park. So clearly, clarity on its future is also pretty serious. And in the meantime, who knows what we're paying Taft and everyone else for this whole process as we spend money to develop in a way that we may not even develop out there. So our job fiscally is to ask those tough questions. And we also have vetted interests as people who live here and as kids play out there and all that, and all that. So I think all of our comments are, come from a good place. We care about it, and we were led to believe it would happen faster. We do not want to make a mistake, so I don't mind it being deliberate, but obviously if something's deliberate and there's no communication, negativity fills in. And so I'm just going by what I was informed by the administration. So, you know, I didn't make up timetables. You know, I mean, I trust what we were originally told, so I trust the people that work out there. So I want what's best in the end, but we don't want waste of time or dollars, and we don't want to miss out on investment if we are dragging around. So to me, this has been about the most important issue. And I know we have a lot of capable people, so it seems like it should have happened faster. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I'm not questioning your motives. I don't care what they are. But again, it's taken as long as it's needed to take because of how complex it is and the parties involved, right? It's not somebody sitting there saying, oh, I want to drag it out for some reason. It seems to be what people are suggesting. And I don't understand the comment about you don't know what Taft is being paid for it. The RDC reviews the claims in extreme detail. I think Jeremy can share that every single time.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like the accumulating, obviously the longer it goes, I assume the more we pay for the process. That makes logical sense to me.
Well, not necessarily, because a part of the process, right, is an exchange of information. So, right, the last month, I haven't done a whole lot because we're waiting on certain information from the other side. Right? And I can't share all that, again, by design, by statute. You're part of the decision maker, so I can't share what that is. So I get that, you know, negativity fills a void. That's human nature. But I can tell you, it's not like I'm sitting there churning on these issues. As we deal with things as they come up, and the lag time, to the extent there is any, is because there's a natural exchange of information that takes time because it's complex. Those are fair questions.
Councilors, any other comments? Hearing none, we will call this meeting to close. Thank everybody for coming.